Hey people, it's Jim. Just wanted to update a little bit on COM. The radios that I showed earlier, please don't expect more than a couple miles, okay, of COM ability with those. Better yet, more like a mile for good signal transmission. But that's all your watches are going to be stationed at, and that's all you're going to need for tactical positioning. And that's why, I choose a radio like this that has whisper mode and so on and so forth, because we're not talking about long-range comm here. We're talking about short-range comm, just staying in touch with each other while you're scavenging, foraging, maybe out hunting. You're not going to be miles away. If you are, you're of no use to your base. Okay, so that's why these radios have their function. Now, there's a difference between FRS and GRMS. Okay, GRMS is 5 times the power of FRS, which is very low power. Okay, so when you get to GRMS level, technically you need a license. That is the law. If you read on your GRMS, which is the higher power output on this particular brand of radio, you have that ability. A lot of people will get this radio and then say, oh, it doesn't transmit very far. Well, that's because they're not on the right channel and they're not in high power mode, which if they read a little bit further, they would have seen that. But also, even if you're in high power mode on GRMS, don't expect a lot of range out of them. It'll just give you more power and extend your range a bit, but that still doesn't mean you can talk over a mountain. It doesn't mean you can talk miles away. Even though the thing says 36 miles, it's just like it says waterproof. It's not likely, ever. Okay? So these devices are only meant for a couple of miles apart. That's it. Now, GRMS, that can extend your range greatly. How can you do that? By knowing where the repeaters are for your GRMS stations in your area. And by getting a license, you'll know all of those things. And once you figure out how to use a repeater, that will greatly extend your range in emergency situations. Also, once you get that down, you understand the significance of power when it comes to signal transmission. And transceivers with higher power output are able to communicate over greater distances. Also, once you get the GRMS down and you realize, hey, I really would like high-powered comm, then you get into ham. And to get into ham, you do have to take a test. It's kind of like a short night school class. It's study at your own pace. Nobody's going to rush you. And you'll be told when the tests are. I believe you can even test online now, individually. But anyway, again, it does require a test and it does require some book work. And you want to do the book work, okay? Because you want to know how to utilize repeaters. You want to know how to program your radio to be able to utilize all these assets. And it's just very important. Okay, but the main thing I wanted to make about this particular episode, I've had some great questions. Fantastic. Sounds like it was a good video to do. I didn't realize COM was as weak a point as it is in a lot of people's preps, and that's why I do what I do. I noticed that we spend a lot of time doing a lot of things. We get focused. We preppers sometimes what I see is tend to get kind of bug-eyed, focused in one spot of prepping. When it's a broad spectrum to be a good prepper, or let's call it balanced. Just like a balanced life is healthy, being a balanced prepper is healthy. Okay, we can spend tons of money in one area and leave ourselves totally wide open in another area that could be just as important. Not a good thing, and that's why balance is important. And remember, this is just entry-level comm that you don't need a license for, okay? And that's why I suggested these two devices today, and I have them. I've been to ham radio class, and I have these devices in my Faraday cage. Why? Because I want to be able to whisper to my watches so they don't have to give up their positions. And I'd like them to be able to do the same for me. And that way we can coordinate how to eliminate threats in our perimeter should it happen. God forbid, but let's face it, people are going to want what you have, and if there's more than a few of you bugging out with supplies, you become a target. Now, hopefully you've been smart about things, covered your tracks, and you haven't told a ton of people where you are. But if you're in a bug-in situation, hey, People know where you are. It's just the way it is. And when people get hungry, they behave funny. But anyway, this is low-end comm. Remember, FRS, GRMS, two different things, okay? One's a lot higher power than the other, but it's not a great amount of power, okay? And the next level is ham. And once you get to ham, now you've opened yourself up to a multitude of repeaters that you are allowed to have access to. And the other thing I'd like to say is find a ham operator in your area, somebody you can sit down with. Ham operators are wonderful people, most of them. They love to help people along the way to become ham certified. And it is kind of like a group, a family, if you will, of people. Just like motorcycles are kind of like a group and a family, and you wave to each other on the way. Hammers are very much the same type in their world, okay? And there's all kinds of games you can play with radios out there, how to find where the signal's coming from, so on and so forth, to hone your skills as a radio operator and to achieve greater understanding and greater levels of ability. And also, your emergency systems rely on ham radio operators in extreme emergencies where communications go down. Katrina, ham operators were used, by the way, to relay information because that place was so devastated for such an extended period of time. So that's why you have to get licensed. It's not because they want to know who and where you are all the time and be checking up on you. That's not what it's about. It's so they know who to contact and what level of ability each one of these contacts has, so that somebody can coordinate. Usually it's going to be the highest ham operator in your area is going to coordinate all those satellite people to help with comm, to relay information in a true disaster. You become a very useful asset to your local community as a ham operator, and you become an extremely valuable asset to your immediate crew or group or tribe or whatever you're in, okay? Because now you can reach out and get all kinds of information from people distances away. Those repeaters are still operational at any rate. And usually repeaters will survive most of these disasters. But again, some will get taken out too. So that's why being a hammer allows you to extend some range to hit some repeaters at a little further distance. But again, transmission requires power. Power requires a license. I just want to let you know that. The radios I demoed or showed or explained about are simply scouting and watch type radios and foraging type radios. They're not meant to be long distance radios, although they do have GMRMS capability. Again, not meant to be long range radios, so don't expect that. Okay, they are what they are, and they're to be used for what they're to be used for. But an extremely valuable asset for not a lot of money when it comes to bug out. Again, find a ham operator, get to know them, ask a million questions. They're usually wonderful people. I haven't met an unkind hammer yet, although I'm sure they exist. I just haven't met one yet. And very helpful people. And you definitely want to know where one is when the SHTF happens. Even if you're bugging out somewhere, you want to know where a hammer is so you can get to them just to get the information about what's going on around you and what kind of services are available and what kind of help still exists, okay? They're an invaluable asset with regards to prepping. So you can also get your own license and become that hammer. So that's why I'm kind of doing this. A lot of people forget this stuff. Remember, if you ever watch that show, it's, what is it, Doomsday Prepper, I think, and they give you these points or whatever. Ham radio operator is one of the highest point factors for special skills you can get on that show. They give you 7 to 10 extra points for being a ham radio operator in that particular category. So know that. It's just as valuable as tactical ability, okay? And in an emergency situation can sometimes be more valuable depending on the situation. So anyway, it's just a little bit trying to be helpful, trying to again explain more. Thanks for all the questions. They were wonderful. And again, it shows me that yes, there is a need to fill the gaps and the voids out there in a way that's okay. And remember, there are no dumb questions. The only dumb question is the one that's never asked. So continue to ask the questions. I'll do my best to answer them. And if I can't answer them, I will find somebody that can answer them for you. And you know, again, Jimmy Rance has got some great stuff. A shout out to him, Patriot Nurse, all kinds of people. Anyway, experience strength and hope to you. I hope you had a great day. Until we see each other again, Jim out.